The Nintendo Switch 2 is an ergonomic travesty. I was hoping that when they announced this thing, if they were making it bigger and heavier, which they did, they would take some more time to make sure that the Joy-Cons fit better in the hand, but as you can see, it's still just so flat. It's as flat as the most gullible people on the planet think the Earth is, and really you need to buy new products to fix this problem. I imagine some of you don't have this problem. Some of you probably don't mind playing it in handheld mode for long periods of time, but I find that if I'm playing it for like 90 minutes to 2 hours, I start to wish that it was a little bit more comfortable to hold. I think one of the best ever examples of what I was hoping for is this guy, the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck is just an unbelievably ergonomic device. It looks a little bit bizarre, but it feels amazing to hold for long periods of time, and I don't mind the weight and I don't mind the size of it when I'm playing it because they just have these great grips to hold onto on the back. If you've seen my video about handhelds and portability, you know that I feel very strongly that the Nintendo Switch 2 is not a device that I would consider to be pocketable, but I would consider it to be portable. Yes, it is a handheld, but no, that does not mean I'm taking it with me out of the house all the time. And my feeling is if you're going to make a handheld that's so big that I'm not going to want to take it out of the house, then just go the extra mile. Make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit chunkier at least so I feel more comfortable while I'm playing it. But unfortunately, it's just like an iPad with a controller slapped onto it, which, to be clear, I like this thing a lot. I'm playing it a lot. I think it's a great device. It's maybe a little bit too expensive, but I don't mind that I bought one. I like video games, and I like the video games on the Switch too. But thankfully, some people out there have made products that have made playing on the Nintendo Switch a little bit more comfortable. I mentioned in more than one video that I was in Japan when the Nintendo Switch 2 came out. I was there for 2 months, and at the beginning of the second month is when the Nintendo Switch 2 was released, and it was fascinating, even just over that month, to see the amount of accessories that started to show up in department stores and video game stores and things like that. I went into a Bic camera, which is just a big, it's basically like a giant Best Buy that's like 5 floors and doesn't seem like it's going to go out of business at any moment. And I was looking at their Nintendo Switch 2 section, and they just had this big wall of accessories, a lot of which were Joy-Con grips. And I ended up picking up these for $5. They're by a company called Range Life. I haven't been able to find a way to buy them in the US, but they were $5. They're these silicone grips. They go over the Joy-Con. It still fits into the dock, which is nice if I have them on. And they do the job. They make it a little bit more comfortable to hold. They make it a little bit closer to what I'm describing with the Steam Deck. But I always knew that these $5 grips were not going to be it for me. This was always a short-term investment in the hopes that eventually someone would release better Joy-Cons or just a more ergonomic grip like this that I could put on the thing. My hope above hopes was that it was going to be Dbrand. Dbrand is a company that's known for making skins for phones, but in recent years they've been making more and more cases, and they have this case line called the Killswitch, which is a line of cases that they make for various handhelds like this. I actually have the Killswitch on my ROG Ally X, and it takes a device which is like kind of comfortable to hold and makes it really comfortable to hold. This texture on the grip is really nice. It's kind of like almost sandpapery, but like what if sandpaper was comfortable? I don't even know how to explain it beyond that. It has a kickstand built into it. It just makes the thing a lot more comfortable, and whenever I'm traveling, this is usually the device I bring with me because it also has this really handy travel case. So when this thing is assembled, you just have the kill switch, covering the entire back. You have this plastic piece that just kind of hooks over the front. And then you have an entire thing that you can like throw in a bag or a backpack or whatever and feel good about taking with you. It even has some holes in the top so you can keep charging it if you want to. It's a great case. I like it a lot. And from what I've heard from people who have the kill switch on the Steam Deck or other devices like the original Nintendo Switch, people seem to like it a lot. So when Dbrand announced the kill switch for the Nintendo Switch 2, I think a lot of people were really stoked about it. They were like, it's cool that this is coming out at the beginning of the Switch's life cycle, so I could get this thing and then probably never take it off for as long as I have the Switch 2. And that's kind of where my head was at, but when the thing came out, there were some issues. There were some problems with the kill switch. The main issue was that if you installed the kill switch on the Switch 2 and you were holding the Switch like this, which is a totally normal way of holding the Switch, sometimes the magnet would just detach and your entire Switch 2 would just go tumbling onto the ground and you'd be left holding a Joy-Con. If your case introduces more problems that make your Switch more likely to break, then it is literally doing the opposite of what a case or a grip is supposed to do. There's a bunch of back and forth. There was a bunch of drama. At one point, Dbrand was telling people, like, just don't hold the Switch like that, which obviously has echoes of Steve Jobs telling people don't hold your iPhone like that when Antenna Gate was happening. But eventually they relented and they were like, hey, we're going to fix this. We're going to make a better version of it. Anyone who has ordered the Killswitch is going to get this fixed version. And if you have ordered a Killswitch and you haven't gotten it yet, you will get the fixed version in the mail. I had ordered the Killswitch sometime in the middle, like right before that problem started developing, right before people started talking about it online. So I've been just waiting for the Killswitch to show up for like a couple months at this point. And guess what? It did. I got it right here. Now let me say this, Dbrand did not send me this. I bought this with my own money. I have had no contact with Dbrand. I've just been watching this from the outside and hoping that this was the case that I would use for the rest of the Switch 2's life cycle. So let's find out together if that's gonna be the case or not. I think, get it? That's pretty funny. Okay, so immediately in the box, I totally forgot, but they send you some Joy-Con skins as well. You can choose from a bunch of different colors. I was like, why not go with the classic red and blue, like, you know, the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, which is fun. I also got a microfiber cloth, which is fun, and a little card on it that says, we know where you live. So that's interesting, I guess. Okay, so one thing that's worth noting about the Killswitch, which is something that a lot of people seem to argue about online and are not very happy about, and honestly, I'm not really happy about, is that if you install the Killswitch in its entirety, you can no longer dock the Nintendo Switch 2 in the official Nintendo Switch 2 dock. So they have this dock adapter. Now this dock adapter sits over the Switch 2 dock and then allows you to plug the Switch and the Killswitch into this part in the front here. I'll get my dock, we'll try this out and see what this is like. It's pretty wild that you need to do this. I have heard tell that there are ways to install this thing that don't require you using this, and I would much rather not use this if possible, especially considering I'm a person who makes a lot of videos about video games, and I'm recording video games all the time off of my Switch, plugged into a capture card, and I'm moving my Switch 2 back and forth between docks constantly between my office, where I usually record, and the living room when I'm playing on the TV for myself. That would mean I would need 2 of these. I don't really want to have to get another one of these. We also got a spare adhesive, which will become important later. And here you can see we have basically already assembled, but the Killswitch in its entirety, including this travel case that I was talking about with the ROG Ally X, has a much better mechanism on it. It's kind of like a bungee cord situation. So it's not as horrible to clamp the thing on as it is with the ROG Ally X. Now, I like that case a lot, but putting this on and taking it off always feels like I'm gonna rip the thing apart. So I think this is probably a better solution here. Okay, so the Killswitch actually comes in a couple different pieces. 2 of them are Joy-Con grips that go on the left and the right. They look like this. They're obviously like really intense from an ergonomic standpoint, but I think they're gonna be really comfortable because even just holding this is like pretty nice. It's got this like really, really kind of pronounced back grip here, and then a great spot for your finger to go. So you're kind of wrapping your hand around the entire thing. It's so silly to be doing this with a handheld microphone like this, so I have to do everything with one hand. This was really not the smartest move, I think, but whatever. The other side of this, the other part here, is this back plate. Now this back plate kind of hooks around on the Nintendo Switch 2, and if you look, I don't know if the camera will focus on this, but you can see some blue tabs there, and that is the adhesive that we're talking about. So if you want to, you can literally stick this to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it will be stuck there. You can take it off eventually if you want to, but the whole idea is that this would be like a perfect fit around the body of the Switch 2. Hold that thought. It also comes with another piece that extends the kickstand a little bit, which is an interesting idea. This also, as you can see, has some adhesive tape on it, so you can like literally, again, stick it to that kickstand. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Okay, so the last thing in this package that I do want to shout out is this set of joystick caps, these analog stick caps, which are a little bit more textured and a little bit grippier than the ones that come on the Joy-Con on the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm excited to try these out and see if they're comfortable. I got them mainly because I just was curious. I actually don't have any problems with the Switch 2 Joy-Con analog sticks at all. But who knows? Maybe this will be more comfortable. And I'll be honest, I've been playing the Switch 2 a lot in handheld mode recently. So anything that makes it more comfortable to play for long periods of time, I'm willing to try out, I think is my feeling. Okay, I think it's time to get all this put together. All right, so here's the big secret is if you don't want to use the dock adapter, you could just stop here. You could install the grips themselves, slap them onto the sides of the Switch 2, which again I'm trying to do with one hand, which is funny. Thankfully they're magnetic. That could be it. And then you can just dock it normally and you'd be all good to go. I will put on the back just to see what it feels like. I'm curious about it. And I also want to put the Joy-Con analog stick tops on and see how that feels as well. So let's do that. Okay, immediate first feeling about the stick grips, as they call them. They do make the Joy-Con analog sticks feel a lot bigger, and they're definitely a lot more textured. I don't know if that makes them better. I can tell like immediately I think this is the kind of thing that I might end up removing, but I'm definitely going to give it a shot for a while. So the reason I'll probably keep the back cover around even if I end up not using it is literally just to use this as the travel case, because I feel like this is going to be a lot better, in my opinion, to throw in a bag than what I'm currently using, which is, you know, this also cheap case I got, I think from Hori. I think it's a Hori case I got while I was in Tokyo. With one game in it. What game is it, folks? Let's see. It's Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. I like this case decently enough. It fit with the $5 grips that I had, and I think that that's pretty good. This definitely feels a lot sturdier, which is nice. Plus, I have, you know, a great handheld experience. I will say immediate feeling, let me take the travel case off. Immediate feeling about the Killswitch is that it does add a lot of weight to the device itself. Like with and without the Killswitch is pretty noticeable. Like I said, I've been playing the Switch 2 handheld a lot, and this definitely does feel heavier, but it also, I think, feels a lot more comfortable. Without even turning the thing on and trying something yet, I can tell that it feels closer to the Steam Deck that I was describing before, or the ROG Ally X. I would actually say that this is a more comfortable Killswitch than the ROG Ally X is, because you have a lot more room for your hands to wrap around the back here. I'm immediately pretty happy with it. I don't know if I'm going to keep the skins on. I just thought, like, for the sake of the video, like, why not put the skins on? It definitely makes the Switch 2 look like a little bit different than I think other Switch 2s out there, and there's a little piece of me that's happy about that, but for the most part, I'm just kind of in it for the grips, and they immediately feel pretty great. Okay, now I should grab the dock real quick and show you what we're talking about here with this dock adapter. Okay, so here's the official Nintendo Switch 2 dock. As you can see, if I were to go put the Switch 2 in it, ooh, it actually, yeah, it starts to slide in. I'm not going to risk that. It starts to slide in, but then it doesn't go in all the way. So what they've done is included this dock adapter, which is huge, and it goes like this. And then I'm supposed to press down on either side, I think. Okay, so now this is what the whole dock looks like, which is wild. And the Switch 2 no longer goes into the inside of the dock, but it now sits here on the outside of the dock. I'm not like thrilled about this personally. I would really rather not use this, and the fact that I can just remove this backplate and it will work, I think is probably the move for me. I think the other piece of it is that the other dock that I have in the living room is not the official Nintendo Switch 2 dock, so even if I wanted to, I couldn't get another dock adapter and then plug that in. What I would need to do, I think, is just remove this every single time. So I think the easier thing is to just have this backplate off and then only use it if I'm traveling, which is, not that big of a deal. I don't really mind that, especially if I'm getting all the upside of having these better grips here. Hello. So it's been about a week since I recorded all the stuff that you just saw, and I've really been putting the Killswitch through its paces. As you can see, I have removed the back plate, and I honestly haven't put it back on since recording that video. And I've played the Switch 2 in handheld mode a lot. I've played like 20 hours of Yakuza 0 on here, and a bunch of Mario Kart, and what else have I been playing? Hollow Knight, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the Switch 2 update that came out, which is fantastic, by the way. I think the most surprising thing immediately is that I haven't taken the analog stick grips off. I've been using them the entire time, and I think I've even grown to like them. It's a real 180 moment for me, honestly. I really, as soon as I put them on, expected to not take it off. The thing that I think is worth saying right at the top is that I have had no issues with the Joy-Cons spontaneously detaching magnetically, sending my Switch tumbling to the ground and then shattering. It's been totally fine. I didn't mention this in that first bit, but the new thing that they added here is something that they're calling Joy Lock. There's definitely a better name for that, but whatever that happens to be allows the Switch 2 Joy-Cons to actually lock in place and not just, again, spontaneously, essentially like wedge the magnetic connection between the Joy-Con and the Switch 2 unit itself apart, and again, sending your Switch to the ground. Top level thought about the Killswitch, it's really good. I like it a lot, and I feel pretty confident in saying, it's only been a week, and the Switch 2 has a long life ahead of it. But I feel pretty confident in saying that if I'm not going to replace the Joy-Con themselves at any point, like say a company like MobaPad or Hori or somebody else releases a new replacement for the Joy-Cons I can throw on there, if I'm not getting anything like that for the Switch 2, then these grips will stay on the Switch 2 probably for the entire life cycle of it. They do feel that good. They have like really transformed, I think, the feeling of playing in handheld mode for me to a level that I am playing handheld mode a lot more, like naturally. Like, the first couple days after shooting that first bit of the video where I just put everything together, I was like really saying to myself, like, I need to play this in handheld mode so I can test it out, so I can come back and report on it. But the couple days after that, it was less of I need to test this and more just like I want to be doing this. Which I think is maybe the clearest sign that they're good. And like I said in that first bit also, I will probably keep that back plate so I can continue to use the travel cover. Like, there's no reason for me to not... Here's a question, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Do I even need the back plate for the travel cover? I didn't even test that out. Give me a second. It just occurred to me I might not even need it. Or let's find out. Taking the travel cover apart. Wow, it's a lot easier to shoot a video like this when you just have both of your hands free. Okay, wait a second. So here's the deal. I can attach this travel cover to the back of the Switch 2 just fine. And it does fit really well. I'm having no problems with it. It doesn't need the back plate. But if I throw this into a bag, the chances of this back part getting scratched up are much higher. Do I care that much about that? No. Devices are meant to be used. I am not as precious about not getting scratches on the back of the Switch 2 as I think some people are. If it was the screen, that'd be a different story, but the screen is totally fine and protected, which is nice. I like that you can see the light of the Switch shining through here. But that having been said, I think probably just, out of an abundance of caution, if I were to ever use the Switch 2 on the go, if I was to bring it with me on a trip, of which I have a couple coming up, I probably will just slap this backplate on, realistically. And I will say, for people who are potentially going to buy the Killswitch and only play in handheld mode, like, there are people out there who only play in handheld mode and never dock their Switch. My wife is one of them. If you buy the whole Killswitch and you attach the whole Killswitch, it does feel better than if you take this backplate off and play it the way I've been playing. Just because there's this like seamless gap, well, non-gap, I guess I should say. Like, it is a completely even surface across the back here. It feels more intentionally designed to be held this way than the way that I've been playing it, which is without this backplate. But that's not stopping me from playing it without the backplate, which I don't really mind, because again, it allows me to dock the Switch in the normal Switch 2 dock and also my third-party dock from Antank that I have. I think the bigger question that needs to be asked and answered is all of this worth it from a price perspective? Now, the whole package that I've been showing off here is $80 all in. That's expensive, especially considering that $80 package is including a bunch of things that I like don't want to use, like the dock adapter. For me, having grips that feel this good is worth the price, which is maybe silly considering there are a lot of alternatives on the market that people also seem to like. There's a company called Skull & Co. that has a grip that's called the Savage Raven, which is very... I don't know why all of these things need names like this. Killswitch, Savage Raven. It's very silly. But anyway, Skull & Co. has a thing that's called the Savage Raven that is... it looks like between $30 and $50 depending on where you buy it and how many things you get included with it, which is a very reasonable price. There's a company called JSaw that I like a lot. I have some of their cables and I have a dock of theirs that I use for the Steam Deck and the LAX. But they have a couple options. For example, they have this one thing called the Split Protective Case that's $25. They have another thing called the Mod Case that's $30. Like, these are pretty decent prices for things that seem to provide maybe not the exact same level of like grip and ergonomics as the Killswitch, but they'll get you decently close. It'll be better than, for example, the $5 silicone grips that I started this video with. There is a video by Russ for Metro Game Core that I liked a lot, where he basically went through like every Switch 2 case that he had been sent by companies to test out, where the conclusion of it ended up being use the Killswitch Joy-Con grips, but find a back plate from a different case that allows you to dock it, and that's kind of like the dream, where he, to be clear, acknowledges like that is not a realistic thing to ask of anybody, but that is like the dream scenario. And for him, somebody who just has all of those pieces already, that makes a lot of sense. For me, I'm not about to go out and buy some extra grips just so I can use the back plate and throw the grips away. I'm just going to use it without the back plate. But I think at the end of the day, the feeling that I have more so than anything else is that I don't want to have to buy any extra products to make the Nintendo Switch feel better. I really wish that Nintendo had done something to the Joy-Cons to make them a little bit more comfortable. But now I'm here with, this honestly monstrosity just like attached to the Switch 2, which, to be clear, is really comfortable. I enjoy using the Killswitch a lot, but it doesn't make the Switch look great. It doesn't look like a Nintendo product really anymore, outside of the fact that I got, the skins added to the Joy-Cons. My hope over time, as all these handhelds start to get bigger and bigger and bigger, is that companies spend more time thinking about the ergonomics and how it feels to hold them. That seems like a silly thing to even say out loud, but it's clear that a lot of companies are not giving that level of thought. Or at least the amount that they need to be or should be realistically for like even accessibility reasons. To answer the biggest question, yes, Dbrand fixed the Killswitch for the Switch 2. And to answer my biggest question, yes, I will probably just keep using the Killswitch as long as the Switch 2 exists. I'm pretty happy with it, and I can't see a reason to stop using it. Thank you so much for watching this one. I'm curious how you feel, dear viewer, about needing, quote-unquote, a case or a grip for your devices. My feeling has always been that if I'm going to be spending this much time with a thing, I want it to be comfortable to use and to hold, and knowing how much of the Switch 1 I played in handheld mode, I really feel very strongly that starting the Switch 2 life cycle with a comfortable way of playing in handheld mode is probably the best case scenario for me. But how do you feel about that? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and share the video with a friend maybe if you want to. And if you're really feeling generous, you can head over to patreon.com/wavelengths and support this and the podcast and the blog and everything else I'm doing. Thank you so much for being here. I'll catch you later, everyone. Bye-bye.